We have breaking news, and it's shocking, being reported both by the Associated Press and by TMZ.com that the actor Heath Ledger has been found dead in his apartment in Manhattan in the Soho district. Let's bring in Courtney Hazlett. A lot of people will remember him. An Academy Award nominee, was he not, for Brokeback Mountain?
You're absolutely right, Chris. This comes as extremely shocking news. It's being reported by the AP. His rep has not confirmed this at this time, but he was young, 29 or 30 years old, and he has a young daughter, Matilda. He was linked with Michelle Williams, who was his co-star in Brokeback Mountain, and this is something that definitely nobody saw coming, if indeed it is true.
He is somebody who, frankly, I used to see him around Manhattan.
Absolutely.
He's out there all the time. You know, he goes to the restaurants. He tries to lead, you know, sort of, I guess, what you would call a normal life. He and Michelle had this young child together. He sort of tried to shy away from being this pretty boy. Did he have any reputation for, I mean, anything that we might link to this death? Because police are saying they do not believe it was a crime.
Correct.
Was he known to have a drug problem? Anything like that at all?
Heath Ledger was about as normal as a 20 or 30-year-old New Yorker that you could get, actually. He frequented restaurants that were known to be hip, but he wasn't the kind of guy who was excessively flashy or known to be partaking in any of the seedier parts of New York City nightlife. He also was known to be, especially in the last year since the birth of his daughter Matilda, just a real family man, and he really did care about her. He was reportedly very, very upset at the breakup of his marriage with Michelle Williams. He wasn't the kind of guy that you'd ever peg for this type of thing to happen.
First came to attention, I remember him first in the movie A Knight's Tale.
Absolutely. And he was kind of like this new on the scene. He was Australian, a real breath of fresh air in the Hollywood industry. But beyond that, he had this sort of stretch in these sort of teen, young adult movies, and then really did manage to transcend that, especially with Brokeback Mountain. Recently, he was filming the new Batman movie. He was playing the Joker, and he's really made a name for himself in Hollywood as an extremely well-respected actor, extremely dependable, and an all-around good guy.
He also, as I recall, had a small part in Monsters Ball, which won an Academy Award for the lead female actress, whose name is escaping me right now.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry, yes.
So, I mean, he was really somebody who tried to diversify his roles, somebody who took risks.
He took acting very seriously. He's not the type of actor who wanted this to be a flash-in-the-pan type of thing. He wasn't the type of young star who we see now very often, who's obviously milking the moment for all it can be milked. Heath Ledger was known to be really focused, really interested in exploring his roles and getting deep. And one of the things people really respected about him too was his privacy. No matter how much you would pry, he definitely guarded his family, he protected his daughter and his relationships, and he really just did want to do good work.
Now, we're getting a hot note from Jonathan Dienst. He's an investigative reporter with our NBC station here in New York, WNBC. He says that his housekeeper found him in his apartment with pills strewn all around him. Again, that would be shocking. I'd never heard anything in that sort of New York community that he had any sort of problem like that.
You hear this sort of thing, you know, Amy Winehouse was in the news just today, partaking in any number of illicit activities in the video that was broadcast today. This isn't something, if it's true, that you would pin on Heath Ledger. Like I said before, I used to see him at various clubs and restaurants and that type of thing, but he was never the type of person who appeared to be out of control. He never appeared to be doing things you wish you hadn't seen. He always seemed like, at the end of the day, somebody who did want to just live a normal life, have fun, that sort of thing, but he definitely didn't seem to be somebody who was definitely out of control. And I also know some of Heath's friends, and none of them have been talking in recent days that he might have been depressed or anything like that. He definitely was a quieter guy, more somber, and he was very serious, but this would be an absolute shock, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, and he sort of was the anti-publicity kind of guy. I mean, he dated two actresses, one very famous one, Naomi Watts,
exactly,
for several years, and then, of course, Michelle Williams, who was his co-star in Brokeback Mountain, and, you know, before that was in a very popular television show, so she was very well known, but he never courted that kind of publicity.
No, not at all. In fact, he deflected it. If anything, he wasn't the type of guy who wanted to have his picture taken necessarily. I remember so many red carpets, where you could tell this was just part and parcel of the gig, that he was walking the carpet because it was important for the film, it was important for the publicity surrounding the film, but it wasn't something he wasn't. You wouldn't see him strutting along the red carpet showing off what he was wearing or who he was with. That's not what Heath Ledger was about at all.
So Heath Ledger, just 28 years old, Academy Award nominee for Brokeback Mountain, who had done 15 movies in his young career, done TV, had won 4 different awards, found dead in his apartment in Manhattan. We're going to take a break, be back with more right after this.